interviewed on another group. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
I was
right. So I'm pretty sure we're probably live now in the group. And so thank you everyone for joining us. It's Cindy and Marjorie. And we're going to be talking about travel and how it can be transformative. So if you're here, I would like for you to, if you're watching live right now, to tell us where you went on vacation the last time. And so I'm going to double check though here on my, oh, yep, we're live. Okay. So let's get this one off on the thing. All right. So welcome, Marjorie, and thank you for coming on here and being willing to share about one of my favorite things, traveling. And I
oh
know it's one of your favorite things as well.
yes, thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Happy to be here.
Good. All right. We are going to talk tonight about 3 specific branches of self-expansion. The first
Okay.
one is self-care, nourishing your body, mind, and soul so you feel whole. And what better way to do that than to travel?
Correct.
The next one is self-empowerment. Just think about this for a minute. How can empowering yourself to be more, do more, and see more be done through travel?
Most definitely. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yes. And
There's
then
nothing better than that.
I know it. And then the last one, of course, is self-pleasure, just plain and simple having fun. And so that's what this session is about tonight, is for us to touch base with Marjorie and what she does for a living and get to know her a little bit better. And Marjorie and I have known each other for quite a while, and it's fun to watch her Facebook stories and things because she's a luxury travel consultant. And who doesn't dream about traveling, especially if you had your very own luxury consultant? So she has a real passion for transforming journeys. And with over 2 decades of experience in retail and in the travel industry, she has honed her expertise in crafting personalized travel experiences that cater to diverse preferences and needs. And that's the other caveat to our relationship. You
Yeah.
know, many of you, I'm Cindy, the founder of this group. Many of you know that I was a special educator for over 30 years, and I have a very deep desire to support people with differing abilities. And Marjorie is also doing the same thing amidst her travel consulting. So, Marjorie, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your current mission?
Okay. Where do I start? Uh, well, first let me say this. When my whole life being surrounded by I came from a very large extended family. My aunt was my big passion behind getting so into wanting to do travel. And so being around older people, they don't move very fast. And then being surrounded by people who at the time when I was younger would have possibly some form of learning disability, or they took them longer to understand something. It all of these things, it just seemed throughout my whole life I wanted to connect with people and support them and help them. And it's like my whole thing is always about no one left behind, because if you spend time with someone, they could be faster than or better at doing something than someone else. We just got to take the time and
Yeah.
understand how they learn. So
Exactly. Yes. And that's been my thing all along. You know, helping people to learn how to compensate for areas where they might need not be as strong as their peers, and also shine in those areas where they are maybe more gifted than their peers, which happens often enough. And Willow's on here, and she said she loves that because there's no one left behind. And Marjorie, Willow is from Nova Scotia. Have you
Oh,
ever traveled there? She was asking.
no, I've never been to Nova Scotia. No, I haven't.
Now,
Beautiful.
yeah, I have been to Canada, but I don't remember where or when. My mom is watching, and she could probably tell you. I do think that that's where my brother fell under the dock, if I can remember right, when we were kids.
Oh my God.
Um, but anyway, so that was my extent to being in Canada.
Can
And Willow says you're missing a beautiful place.
okay, well, can I say something, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Because my first journey to Canada, I went to Montreal, and this was years ago, and it was winter. I remember it so very well. And I literally drove across the whole of Canada to Vancouver, and I was going to move to Vancouver. I was going to do that. I stayed there for 3 months, I think it was. And then I said, I think I'm going to go back to New York.
Mm.
Yeah, so Canada is absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
that is actually and just so you know, I do book for people in the US and Canada, right? Just so that you're
Oh.
aware. Yeah. And I'm by no means selling, I'm just saying for awareness. And Canada is one of the locations that I really highly recommend for people to go to travel, because the nature aspect and the ruralness, which is a fun thing for me. And in getting people back, this is why I love a lot of things that I see Cindy does, right? That in most cases, when we remove people from an environment that is very toxic, we can foster a lot of new thoughts, energy, motivation, growth. There's just so many things just in surrounding yourself in this sort of environment. You live longer. I mean, it's just a research. You could check it out. People live longer living in that kind of environment. Yeah,
Yes,
off
yes,
that
very
soapbox.
true. And Willow does say that Montreal is lovely and busy. What a drive. She is further east, right on the coast. And we have
Oh,
several people watching, so I'm glad to have you guys here and watching us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We know Willow's from Nova Scotia. I'm from Murphy, North Carolina. Marjorie, you're from
I'm right now. I'm in New Jersey.
you're you're in New Jersey right now. All right. Well, I see Sharon Llewellyn's on here and my mom and Michelle. So thank you guys for joining us. And the topic we're going to talk about tonight is transformative travel, which is beyond the destination.
Most
So,
definitely.
um, so we are going to just listen and hear what Marjorie has to say for us and kind of delve into how your visit can go beyond just the destination and what the potential is for that personal growth and that self-discovery and that positive change. I mean, that's what I'm all about, and you are too. And I'd say the majority of the people in this group, we're just here to learn and grow and glow together.
Oh,
So, give me a little bit of information about what you mean when you say transformative travel beyond the destination.
okay. So when I say transformative travel, there's so many different things that we can do and enhance our exposure to travel without trying to make this very long. From an educational perspective, meaning, for example, what Cindy does, right? Or we can take it to a higher level by moving it into another location, not just having it be online, an in-person event where you can experience
Mhm.
having massages, probably having a full makeover, right? Uh,
Yes.
yeah, most definitely. Experiencing a different climate. I will say my focus area is the Caribbean, but pretty much, like I say, anything around nature is fine. And yes, I can do stuff in Europe, right? The other pieces is in I talked briefly about just now in regards to the environment aspect of it, right? Making sure your surroundings. Sometimes if you have sometimes individuals when you're struggling, a lot of mental challenges happening at different periods of time through loss, especially with things around what has happened the past few years. When you remove people from that element, you surround them where you can touch and feel the person. You can, yes, talking here is great. You can feel probably some of the energy, but when someone can put their hand out and touch you, you can engage with the locals within the area and get educated to some degree of what's happening in that community. And when we give service, meaning you talk and you engage, you find that you have knowledge and worth that makes you feel like, you know what, I am important. There is something significant. And you know what, this is something I can take back with me and that I can do. And then at the end of everything, you want to have fun. You want to have fun. You want to go swimming, diving. I love fishing. Cindy, I know you love fishing too. So yeah. And so in the full circle of things, then you want to have fun.
Yes. And you know what? You said that about being in person is it just takes it up a notch, because Sharon and I are doing some things together, Sharon Keithley. And last week, or I think it was last week or the week before, we got to meet. You know, we live 600 miles apart, but we got to meet in Arkansas, which is where she lives. And it was so energizing just to be together, you know, touching each other, eating, sitting next to each other. So travel does make a difference. And for, you know, the time when everything shut down for COVID, it was nice for a while to me to be just stay home and stay calm and all that stuff. But boy, after a while, you really crave that again. And it's beautiful to be able to get out and enjoy the culture. Now, Willa was saying something about eco travel happens here. We recently had a bicycle tour come through. It was amazing to see so many bikes. And then she would love to meet some of her long distance friends. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sharon's from Topeka, Kansas. And when you talk about different cultures and different environments, I would say just from the people that are on here right now listening, from New Jersey, from Murphy, from Topeka, from Nova Scotia, there are some really unique things in each of those localities that we could learn and have fun with if we were to be able to spend a weekend there. So, you know, I was reading through some of the questions that we had talked about earlier, and you said that when you were growing up, you wanted to be a teacher. And in many ways, throughout your career, you really have been a leader. And so I want to know who actually was the person that kind of sparked your desire to travel. I think you mentioned something about your aunt. And what was it about her that kind of ignited this passion that you have for travel?
Well, what was about her? I mean, she never had any kids, and of course, as a little person, I have no idea still now why, but she never had any kids. So I was the one that she took with her everywhere that she went, and she was very when I use the word, I'm saying from a child memory of her, but she was very can't say this word good.
Authoritarian.
Yeah, she was authoritarian, right? So she commanded, because she was 6 feet, beautiful.
Oh.
And yeah, she was 6 feet, beautiful. And she literally, both men and women, when I could tell and she was always very, I think I made a joke about her in my group that I have, my travel group. But whenever she spoke, you know, she spoke always very candid, never rough or loud, but she always seemed to command respect. And she was never one to laugh and play around, but she loved to cook and do a lot of fun things. So she exposed me every time we traveled to different food, different people from different places, and I'm thinking, wow, because I'm a kid, she's an adult, like, wow, like, where did these people come from? Like, I'm thinking, wow, there's just so much out there, and for me it's fascinating, and I've never seen these kinds of like danishes and croissants, like these are all new, so it was something different. Yeah,
Yes,
she
very
sparked
neat.
all of that, and I'm a foodie. Yeah, I don't know about
Yeah.
anything else. I may not look like it, but I'm a foodie.
Well, I'm a foodie and I probably look like it.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, goodness.
Fine.
So, you have had a 25 plus year career and you have gained lots of experiences in your different roles. Um, and you mentioned that earlier in your days at Cal Doors, is that when you first started working with individuals with disabilities?
Yeah, actually, it was up until, well, I did schooling as well too, but yeah, because they had a work program at the time where I remember the lady would bring the lady I had, she would come, and she had Down syndrome, and she would ask me, what was it that she would need to do, and then I would assign her whatever needed to get done, and literally I never had to worry about it getting done, and
Hmm.
meticulously done. So it was awesome. So I was always very impressed, and even as soon as she was finished, she will be ready to want, because they were teaching them how to be able to catch a bus, and to know how to do the different process. So this for me was the beginning stages of doing, because this is over 20 something years ago. So yeah, this is a while ago. Yeah, it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember reading that you realized working in all of these positions and things that you had and working your way up to even the district manager for certain companies and
Correct.
put your whole heart and soul in it, which is what I did with the education field. But we eventually realized that these companies tend to really rely on specific people
Hmm. The ones
and
who are gonna get the work done.
right, and they sort of work you into the ground. And so you and I both come to this realization as to the precious moments that we're missing out
Correct.
on, not only for ourselves to be able to do and enjoy life, but the people that are in our most inner circle.
Correct.
And so it's really neat that your aunt had instilled that deep love of travel for you, because it sounds to me like travel and helping families to explore this, really, when you travel, you are so close together as a family
Correct.
because of the nature of the traveling experience, that it really um, builds stronger relationships. It gives you an opportunity to just really connect. And so, what would you say is one of the most compelling aspects of what you do as a travel consultant and working with people?
Uh, for me, it's the satisfaction of knowing that I'm literally crafting. I like to try and make things unique and out of the box. When I say out of the box, is that I'm not thinking about a four season. When I say four season, I'm saying for like concrete building. I'm thinking about something creative. Yes, it may be in a building, but something creative where you're having an experience that is just uniquely mesmerizing for not
Hmm.
only for not only it's to create this atmosphere for you and your family, right? That
Yeah.
when you leave, you're thinking that, wow, I can't wait to get back. And it doesn't serve just one of the family member, it serves everyone. So if you have children, if there's an older person, I have suppliers that can handle accommodations for anyone that might need any sort of, whether it's an oxygen or they may need a scooter, whatever they need. I
Yes.
that's why the consultation is important. But I am over the top to want to make sure things are done well, because family is everything. It is. It
And
really is.
it really is. And I know just by because Ken and I have been had my mother-in-law lived with us for a couple of years, and then my mom's living with us now. And so when you talk about the older generation, and if you go somewhere and you're not familiar with where you're going, you do not know. And very often there are not facilities that allow or accommodate for people with limited mobility, let's say, or whatever it might be. And when you work with someone like a travel consultant who can really tailor make these travel experiences and help us to make sure that all these special needs are met, I mean, I think it can make a world of difference in traveling. So, you know, it seems like you have the ability to curate journeys that really align with people. And Sharon was saying here that it sounds wonderful, both Sharons. What a wonderful mission and a service that you have.
Thank you.
And so just tell us a little bit more, if you can, about the experience that someone would have with you. And Sharon Keithley said, especially those thoughtful touches that you can put in there to make sure that the experience that we have with our families, whether it's the little tiny ones that we're working with, someone who may have some physical or emotional disabilities, and maybe people that just have the aging relatives that they're working with.
Oh, most definitely. Okay, so again, because everybody is different, it's for me. You asked a question that I responded to today on a post, talking about like if how someone sees something. Does that mean that something to the fact that if you could see it the same way or something?
Yeah,
Post,
I
right?
do remember the post. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is what, for me, that's how I understood that post, like what I'm answering to this here. This is why I need to talk to the person. I have to have an understanding, right? But just in general, if we're just saying in general, so if we have kids going, so let me just focus for a bit on young kids who, let's say individual disability abled or individual with disability, however you want to categorize that, right? That they oftentimes the concern is that I'm going to go on vacation and people are going to be staring at my kid or kids, and other kids are going to be playing and they're going to be ignored and no one's going to be engaging with them. Okay, this is a big concern. So if we think this is a concern just for a parent who has supposedly a normal child, it is even more so a concern for an actual parent. So if I don't have children, but if I put my mindset in the fact of how I feel, if someone's treating my child and making my child feel uncomfortable, then I'm making sure the destination that I'm placing you in is a destination that I've made with the partnership, that this is a destination that they'll have engagement. They have, if let's say the couple wants to have a dinner exclusive for themselves, let's say for the night, that they have people available that can be able to cater to these kids, right? And entertain them. The environment, whether it's on a cruise or whether it's actually in person. So one of the, I have to send to you with the American Queen Line for the river cruises through America, right? That's an awesome line recommendation that I would give. For regardless to, and why I say this is because I've encountered people who want to have individuals that have disabilities. I am just on that little topic for now. They want to go to Europe, right? And they'll say, "Well, I went on a ship that's accessible." So, yeah, you might be on a ship that's accessible, but you want to do excursions. Are you any different from anybody else? You want to enjoy all the different things that are happening, but you can't enjoy it because when you go to Europe, for the most part, they don't have the compliance structures that we have here in the US. That's required, right? So then you have to think, and I heard someone complain about this just the other day in one of the groups that I'm in. And I thought to myself, that now who could the travel consultant have been that did not communicate this? Because this is important, right? Because there are river cruises that I could say, wow, these are really good river cruises. that I think is absolutely awesome. But here's the thing: the accommodations on the river cruise is great, but the destination that the route that they go on, I already know that you're not going to enjoy it if you're in a wheelchair or in a scooter. Yes, you might be able to walk a little bit, but at the end of the day, for a husband or a wife to say, you go and take vacation because I don't want to slow you down, or to the family, you know how many times I've heard this? My son broke their leg. Who are they speaking to? They're either booking these things themselves, they don't know where to go to find the information. And if you're doing this for an agent, and I'm telling you, because I've been around, I've been around agents, and I hear them I hear people talk, right? And trust me, not everybody cares, right?
Yeah.
From the beginning to the end, you have a connection with me through the process, right? And so it's important. That's what you get different in regards to the kid aspect of it. If it's just adults, whatever it is that's your interest, you want to be able to, some people just want to venture out and explore the community. If that's what you want to do, that's fine, right? I can make sure that I give a list of excursions. I had a young lady who approached me, and she says to me, oh, I wish I had met you before. I already bought a trip to go on Norwegian I'm an advocate for. And so I said, oh, that's great. That's a great ship. Not a big deal. It's not a worry. What are you interested in doing? She told me a few things. And I said, oh, well, you should consider, if you're going to these destinations, because she was going to the Caribbean, so I know that pretty well. I said, you should consider doing this in this location and this and this. She says, but they never offered that as an option. Okay. It's an option that we offer, you know?
Yeah.
So there's just certain things you just don't get. And another thing, people think that if they go directly to the supplier, that they're going to always get a better deal. It doesn't work that way, right? Yeah. So I'm off my thing, but I care.
Yes, I can tell that you care and you're passionate about what you do and about making sure that it's not just a travel destination, that it's actually an experience, and
Correct.
a good experience from the beginning to the end, and feeling like you're heard. And one of the questions that has come up here is, how can you best accommodate people with intellectual disabilities? I can know people with physical disabilities as far as wheelchairs and ramps and things like that. But do you have any tips? Willow's asking about working with or traveling with people with intellectual disabilities.
Well, what I'll say in regards to that is that I would have to actually ask a few more questions in order to make sure, pending what we're going to do with that person. I always encourage people, because the individual, whomever it is that might have that, it's the same thing that when people kids have to put they can't deal with sounds. You know, when you're dealing with stuff like that, I need to know the particulars in regards to what their interests are, because at the end of the day, the most important things is that you're familiarizing the person and already prepping them for the journey. Because any sort of change, is even slight, is very upsetting, right? So you want to start prepping them ahead of time about the journey and what to expect pending what you want to do. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to know the child. And if it's a child that I see in front of me and that I'm watching, I too will then start to understand the child, even though it's not living with me, right? But you as the caretaker, I expect to be able to communicate to me the specifics. And what I will encourage you to do is the things that make that person feel safe. So if it's a pillow, if it's a pen, if it's a teddy bear, whatever it is, if it's a specific color, you want to make sure the things that make them feel safe is with them. Because you're going to have, which you would know, you're going to have a challenge throughout your whole vacation dealing with that, with the situation. And we want to make it pleasurable for everybody. So ideally, the more information I get is the best I'm going to be able to serve you as an individual, to make sure that everything works.
And she was saying that this person is now an adult and they lack some understanding. They have challenges communicating, and even some sensory issues, like you mentioned. And there are a number of ways that we can accommodate people with those sensory needs if we know ahead of time. And
Correct.
my advice would be that and you already mentioned this, Marjorie, that when they have certain things already in their own environment that help them to deal with the sensory issues, that help them to facilitate communication, you want to make sure that they have those things when they go on the trip.
Correct.
And as far as planning ahead, that is a big one. And in the field of education, we have used what they call social stories. So
Right.
that you have pictures, you have places, you have a picture of the boat. So
Correct.
you would literally make them pretty much like a photo album or
Correct.
something, to
That's
where
what I was
they
talking
could
about.
see,
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
so that they could see what is going on and what to expect when they get there
Correct.
and understand it. They're still going to be overwhelmed probably at one
Correct.
point or another. But and let's see, I got some comments coming in good now. Willis says some good ideas, explain things ahead of time. And we also have a one time only for when schedules are off from normal. And there you go. And some adults and youngsters, with intellectual disabilities, they can understand when there's an exception to the rule.
Mhm.
Sometimes they don't.
Understood.
Even though
Understood.
you try. And Sharon says with fibromyalgia, she's had a few vacations that she's had to tell her husband to go ahead and finish going up or down the stairs to see what's going on, because she just could not do it. And she's had to, stay behind or at
Mm.
the bottom because of her physical disabilities. And I think that's something that you would be able to
Yes, I
be
wanted.
proactive
Correct.
in helping a couple make sure that the excursions and things do accommodate
Correct.
them.
Can I
So,
can I say something? Um,
sure.
and I really do because I don't know what my calling is, because these things really upset me. Um, because hearing this really upsets me. And I'm not angry at her or the well, I'm annoyed at the situation. But the thing is, what I try and encourage people to do, right, is for anything to change, and it may seem that it's gonna take a while, but I use it from the thought process of thinking about water dropping into a bucket, and the bucket feels like it carries nothing, right, initially. But if it gets full, it becomes heavy, right? When you travel on any place where you travel, and people feel, oh, these people just complain. No, 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 no. We want to give very detailed information to educate people, because people in this day and age, people are still not educated in what's needed and what is required, right? We gotta do, Cindy, I know you shared with me, forgive me that I'm horrible with names. Remember this guy that's making some changes within the airlines and stuff like that, for individuals with disabilities or individual disability able. But when you encounter a situation, you go, if it's in the US or somewhere you go else that you go that's out of the US, make sure you say to them constructively, constructive criticism, highlight the things that were really good, and here are the areas that need improvement. And if you've
Mhm.
experienced and had access to something that gave you that accessibility, then highlight, this is what you've seen done at another location. This might be something that you can consider, because if more people will give feedback to the actual locations or the destinations, they have an opportunity, especially like after like this whole people have been revamping and upgrading so many things. Let's trust and believe that they have to be upgrading these things more to other accommodations. And the whole world needs to get with this program. How can that happen? More people need to start communicating, right, in regards to the things that they can do better. Not make it
Yeah.
so much that it's a complaint, but an education moment to highlight an opportunity to do better.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what, Marjorie, it just touches my heart because your motto is like unlocking journeys and enriching souls. And it's not just unlocking journeys, it's unlocking dreams for people that do have family members with one type of a challenge or another, to know that there are people out there like you that are, your sole mission is to make sure that when they go on this retreat as a family, that it is as seamless as possible.
Correct.
And I do not know, actually, honestly, I don't know any um, travel agent that I've ever worked with when we used to go on cruises and do different things that even ask if there was anybody in the party that had special needs. You know, they just book you and send you. So
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that. And I know that you have a Facebook community too that people can join to become more acquainted with you. And you also gave me a couple of links to put in there with, like, if you want to tell them about that packing like a pro checklist, and also about that link where they can win a vacation.
I know, right? Rent a free vacation. Okay, so it's called the Where to Next. They also give you an opportunity to I know you're gonna put the link in, but what happens
Yes.
is that you go the link is directing you straight instead of having to figure out where to go on my website. So it directs you straight where you fill out the information, you select what sort of information you would like to receive. I will tell you, because I've had someone say to me, Marjorie, you keep emailing me, and I'm thinking, it's not me that is keep emailing you. This is the autoresponder sending you out based on what you selected, right? So just to give you updated. And I usually suggest to people, if you want, you can adjust how they're sending it to you if you like. But all it is, because you might miss out on a great deal, right? Is it gives you an opportunity to fill this out for the Where to Next. Did you get an opportunity to enter to win a vacation? Right? Which is like, hey, I want a vacation. So if you do, let me know. And they just update you the newsletter and tell you about all different deals, different things that are coming based on what sort of it gives you a whole survey of questions to find out what you like, and they gear the information that they send to you based on what it is you like. It's also one of the requirements to joining my group to fill that out as well, so that I can have
Yes.
an idea on what you're interested in.
Yes, and I appreciate you bringing that up. The fact that when you do register for certain things like this, you may get an overabundance of emails. But one of the things that we mentioned in our this time management challenge that we have is exactly what you just said. If you don't want to get rid of all those emails altogether, because you do want to have access every now and then, just go in and change your preferences so
Correct.
that you're not being inundated, but you are still in connection with that. So I have posted the links down below in the comments of this group, or this talk right here, and I've also posted them in the group as well. And I just wanted to thank you very much for joining us, Marjorie, and for telling us and showing us just through your animation, you know, how passionate you are about what you do and who you support. And
Thank you.
I just thank you for that. It does touch my heart because, like I said, I am also passionate about people with differing abilities. And Willow says she loves that you're creating this and bringing accessible travel to those who need it.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you very much. If you guys want to reach out to Marjorie, she's in the group. We'll put the link to her Facebook community in here as well, and you could touch base with her on Facebook. Is there any other way that you would like to direct them to reach out to you, Marjorie?
They could send me a friend request to connect with me as well,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's fine. And Cindy, so I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I know it's long overdue because you had invited me to do this some time already, and I'm all caught up in my own little world sometimes. But I appreciate everything that you have done to support me since I have started my journey and connected to you. So it's been some
Well,
time. Yeah.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And people that are listening, whether you're live or catching the replay, if something came to mind that we didn't answer during this call and you would like for Marjorie to get on another time and be more specific in certain areas, just post it in the comments so that we can kind of put it on our agenda, and we'll have another call, because this is fun. To me, talking about travel is fun. And maybe another time we can get on here and you can share maybe a few destinations that are up and coming, within the next month or two or something like that. So anytime something really exciting is coming up, let me know, and maybe we can get you on here and you can share it with the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Is that a deal?
Yeah, it's a deal. I already gave you a hint with one. Yeah, because a lot of people are not, quite a few people don't want to travel out of the US, especially with the holidays.
Yeah.
And that river cruise in the US is awesome, because I like that it goes up around the, I'll send you some information. A guy told me
Yes.
going to. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll talk to
Awesome.
you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.